Have you ever felt mocked for doing something you knew was right? Maybe you've faced ridicule for standing up for your beliefs, or criticism for pursuing what God placed on your heart. If so, you're in good company. Today's story takes us back 2,500 years to a man who faced relentless mockery while doing exactly what God called him to do. The year is 445 BC. Jerusalem lies in ruins. The once magnificent walls that protected God's holy city are nothing but piles of rubble and ash. The Jewish people have returned from Babylonian exile, but they're vulnerable, discouraged, and exposed to their enemies. Enter Nehemiah, a Jewish cupbearer serving the Persian king Artaxerxes in the distant palace of Susa. Nehemiah receives devastating news about Jerusalem's condition. His heart breaks. He weeps, fasts, and prays for days. Then something remarkable happens. The king notices Nehemiah's sadness and asks, "What's wrong?" This is dangerous territory, because appearing sad before a Persian king could cost you your life. But Nehemiah takes the risk. He explains his burden for Jerusalem and makes a bold request. He wants permission to return and rebuild the walls. God moves the king's heart. Artaxerxes not only grants permission, but provides timber, resources, and letters of safe passage. Nehemiah travels nearly 900 miles to Jerusalem, carrying the king's blessing and a divine assignment. He arrives and secretly inspects the walls at night, assessing the massive task ahead. The destruction is worse than he imagined. But Nehemiah isn't deterred. He gathers the Jewish leaders and delivers an inspiring message. In Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 17, he says, "You see the trouble we are in. Jerusalem lies in ruins, and its gates have been burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace." The people respond with enthusiasm, saying, "Let us start rebuilding." The work begins with united hearts and willing hands. Then enter the antagonists of this project. Sanballat the Horonite, governor of Samaria, and his associate Tobiah the Ammonite. These men have political and economic interests in keeping Jerusalem weak. A rebuilt Jerusalem threatens their power and influence in the region. When they hear about the rebuilding project, they're furious. Sanballat's first tactic is mockery. He doesn't attack with weapons, he attacks with words. In Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 1 through 3, we read that Sanballat becomes angry and greatly incensed. He ridicules the Jews in front of his associates and the army of Samaria. Listen to his cutting words. What are those feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from those heaps of rubble, burned as they are? Tobiah joins the mockery with his own sarcastic jab. What they are building, even a fox climbing up on it, would break down their wall of stones. These aren't just casual insults, they're calculated psychological warfare designed to discourage and demoralize. Sanballat and Tobiah want the builders to question their abilities, doubt their mission, and abandon their work. Imagine you're one of those builders. You're working with damaged materials, limited resources, and exhausted bodies. Then you hear these powerful men publicly ridiculing everything you're doing. They're calling you feeble and incompetent. They're suggesting your work is so pathetic that even a small fox could destroy it. The temptation to quit must have been overwhelming. But here's where Nehemiah demonstrates extraordinary leadership. He doesn't engage in arguments with the mockers. He doesn't organize a counter-protest or launch a publicity campaign. Instead, he does two things. First, he prays. Nehemiah takes the mockery directly to God in prayer. He asks God to hear how they're being despised and to turn the insults back on the mockers' heads. Second, and this is crucial, Nehemiah keeps building. Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 6 tells us, "So we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all their heart." Notice that phrase, they worked with all their heart. They didn't work half-heartedly while distracted by criticism. They didn't pause to defend themselves. They simply kept building with full commitment and focus. This infuriates Sanballat even more. When mockery fails, he escalates. He plots with Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites, and the people of Ashdod to attack Jerusalem and create confusion. The threat becomes physical. Now the builders aren't just facing words, but potential violence. The situation grows more dangerous by the day. Nehemiah's response reveals profound wisdom. He prays again, acknowledging that God is their true defender. Then he sets up a guard system day and night. He's spiritual, but also practical. He trusts God, but also takes sensible precautions. This balance is important. Faith doesn't mean being foolish or passive. The workers grow tired and discouraged. The enemies spread rumors and threats. Some of the Jews start saying, "The strength of the laborers is giving out, and there is so much rubble that we cannot rebuild the wall." Fear begins creeping in. The enemies plan a surprise attack. But Nehemiah learns of the plot and repositions his people strategically. He stations families together with swords, spears, and bows at the vulnerable spots. Then he addresses the people with powerful words from Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 14. "Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your homes." Notice Nehemiah's strategy. He reminds them of God's greatness first, then connects their work to what matters most, their families and homes. He reframes the challenge. This isn't just about stones and mortar. It's about protecting what they love and fulfilling God's purpose. From that point forward, the work continues under new conditions. Half the men work, while half stand guard. Those carrying materials do so with one hand while holding a weapon in the other. Every builder wears a sword at his side. A trumpeter stands ready to sound the alarm if enemies attack anywhere along the wall. Nehemiah establishes a communication system because the wall is long and the workers are spread out. He tells them, "Wherever you hear the sound of the trumpet, join us there. Our God will fight for us." This creates unity and mutual support. No one works alone. Everyone knows help is available. The work continues from dawn until the stars appear. Nehemiah and his brothers don't even change their clothes except for washing. They model the dedication they expect from others. Leadership isn't about giving orders from a distance. It's about leading by example in the trenches. Sanballat tries other tactics. He sends messages inviting Nehemiah to meet him in the villages, planning to harm him. Nehemiah refuses 4 times with the same response. "I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and go down to you?" He recognizes distraction disguised as dialogue. Finally, after just 52 days of focused work, despite constant opposition, the wall is completed. Nehemiah chapter 6 verse 15 records this triumph. When all their enemies hear about it, the surrounding nations are afraid and lose their self-confidence. Why? Because they realize this work has been done with the help of God. What can we learn from Nehemiah's experience? First, expect opposition when you're doing God's work. Criticism often indicates you're making progress that threatens the enemy's plans. Second, don't waste energy arguing with critics. Take concerns to God in prayer and keep moving forward. Third, stay focused on your calling. Nehemiah refused distractions and kept asking, "Why should the work stop?" Fourth, surround yourself with supportive people who share your mission. The builders worked together, defended each other, and stayed unified. Fifth, be both spiritual and practical. Pray fervently, but also take wise action. Finally, remember that completion glorifies God. When you finish what God called you to do despite opposition, everyone recognizes His hand in it. Sanballat's mockery couldn't stop God's purpose. Neither can the criticism you face. Stay focused, keep building, and trust that God will complete the good work He started through you.